On Friday, we reported on the state education department's findings at the Salmon River School District. Educators used wooden boxes to punish children at least 5 times. It happened last year. We've been reporting on this whole story since then, but it's worth taking a pause and looking at the full picture and hearing from parents and community members outraged about what happened and why it hurts so much. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from the Wild Center in Tupper Lake, dedicated to strengthening visitors' connections to the natural world. More at wildcenter.org.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Monday, May 18th. First up, state leaders are back at budget talks today, but no finish line yet. Our Albany reporters Jimmy Vielkind and Samuel King catch us up on where we are.
Samuel, there's still no budget. We're just wandering aimlessly through our lives, budgetless, seeking direction on how much we should spend. So what's the latest and what is the holdup?
The latest is lawmakers are still talking. They're working through details on spending. We're hearing from lawmakers that some areas are shut down, others are still open. For example, it's an open question as to whether the state is going to come in and help nearly 500,000 people set to lose health insurance this summer due to President Trump's one big, beautiful bill.
Not a small thing.
No. And Senate Republican leader Rob Ord says he's fed up with this process and blames Democrats.
Every answer that the governor or the Democrats have given has turned out to be not true, or they've blown past these deadlines. 6 weeks, obviously late, 45 days or whatever. So it just, it's frustrating.
He's not happy. We'll see when we get some bills to vote on.
Maybe by Memorial Day.
Hopefully. Some of the big recent budget news had to do with New York City's budget. Mayor Zohran Mamdani proposed a spending plan that covers a $5.4 billion deficit, largely with help from the state. What are the key points?
Yeah, a lot of help. Some of it was known, some of it's newer. The state will give the city a $1.5 billion grant. Lawmakers are also hashing out details of a pied-à-terre tax on pricey second residences. That will give Mamdani about $500 million. But lawmakers are also poised to let the mayor push off some of his required pension payments and delay the implementation of a law that mandates smaller class sizes. Mamdani said he made some hard choices, but he's grateful.
Over the past 3 months, we have made the choice to search for every efficiency and savings we could find. We made the choice to forge a new relationship with Albany, one built around collaboration instead of contention.
Now, making sure the city had enough help was a concern in state budget talks, so maybe lawmakers in Albany will start moving. But until they do, Samuel, you spoke to some people who want to use the delay to their advantage.
Indeed, people say they have time for lawmakers to give their priorities a second look. That includes advocates who want to see the expansion of programs that provide housing relief for seniors and the disabled who either rent or own their homes across the state. Deb Fisher is with Live On New York, a nonprofit that focuses on senior services and aging.
New York says it wants to be an age-friendly state. But an age-friendly state does not allow older people to be priced out of their homes after a lifetime of work.
Other groups are also still holding rallies. But in non-budget news, Jimmy, a judge ruled that Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman can access public funds for his campaign.
That's right. State Supreme Court Justice Denise Hartman says the State Public Campaign Finance Board acted improperly when it barred Blakeman from getting matching funds. Board officials said Blakeman made a paperwork error. Hartman said he should have a week to correct the mistake, and now this is all being appealed. But Republicans say this was a good ruling. Republican State Committee Chairman Ed Cox says it will give Blakeman a boost.
This makes it possible for him to, as the campaign finance laws were designed, so that he can have a full campaign.
Hochul isn't seeking public matching funds, and her campaign already has $20 million on hand.
None of which is from the state budget.
What state budget?
That's our Albany reporters Samuel King and Jimmy Vielkind speaking Friday afternoon about the status of state budget talks. As of 3 this afternoon, there's nothing new to report. The community in the Salmon River School District near Akwesasne has been rocked by its admission last year that children were put in wooden boxes as discipline. For many Akwesasne Mohawks, the episode evokes the residential schools where Native children were forcibly sent and often abused. Last week, the state education department ordered reforms. NPR's Brian Mann went to the district and filed this story.
When tribal member Sarah Hearn first saw posts on Facebook showing photographs of padded wooden boxes placed in special education elementary classrooms by the Salmon River School District, she didn't want to believe they were real.
It was really just so unfathomable that this was our reality, that our children were seeing these boxes, they were hearing children screaming in these boxes, and that our school system would think that it was a process that was okay to implement.
The Salmon River District is headquartered in Fort Covington, New York. It serves small towns and a region of farms and small factories just south of the U.S.-Canada border. 2/3 of students and many teachers and staff come from the Akwesasne Mohawk tribal community. School officials acknowledge staff built the boxes large enough to hold a single child, which they called calming stations. They were used over a period of at least 2 months during this school year. The elementary school program was canceled after it was revealed on social media.
I cried, I threw up, and I immediately grabbed my laptop and was like, what are we going to do?
Turmoil and protests have continued over the last 5 months. Staff were placed on administrative leave. The district has struggled to find a new school superintendent. Hearn shared video with NPR of a meeting of the local Board of Education where St. Regis Mohawk tribal chiefs, including Michael Connors, demanded accountability.
That was incomprehensible. Nobody could believe that it's legal to have that in our schools for our children with the intent of using that box on our children.
During that meeting, one parent, TJ Hathaway, testified that he asked his 8-year-old disabled son, a tribal member in Salmon River's special education program, about the boxes.
He explained to us that if you are angry or if you are sad, this is where you go.
Many parents, including Hathaway and Sarah Hearn, say use of the boxes to hold Akwesasne Mohawk children raised echoes of trauma caused for decades by Native residential schools. The federal government has acknowledged a history of violence in those schools that continued to the late 1960s. Hearn says she was stunned to find her community facing similar cases.
For our children to be placed in boxes just as they would have been in residential schools, it was so heartbreaking and disgusting to me.
Some parents say it complicates and deepens the wound, that some school leaders and staff who implemented the box program are from the Akwesasne Mohawk community. Krista Lynn Jock is a tribal member and has a child in the district's special education program.
The fact that these were our own people working in these schools, one of our own community members hurting our children, it was so frustrating and so angering.
A report by the New York State Education Department finalized last week and obtained by NPR confirms at least 5 children were improperly confined. According to the report, school staff held the door of the boxes closed when children tried to get out. Parents were never notified. The state's order mandates a long list of reforms, including a ban on improper restraint and corporal punishment. Salmon River's acting school superintendent, Ben Barkley, says changes are already underway.
Nothing like this will happen at Salmon River again. We will be fully compliant with the guidelines from the New York State Education Department.
But some parents say these changes don't go far enough. Hearn points out school district officials have never apologized. She's also angry that a week after the state's report was completed, it still hasn't been made public by local or state officials. But Hearn's main concern is that the Education Department order doesn't recommend the dismissal of school personnel who approved or used the boxes. She says at least a dozen people still working in the district should go.
I'm not trying to be on a witch hunt. I'm just trying to hold people accountable and make a safer place. And if that means that they have to stand up and admit that they're wrong, that's what we need to do. That helps us all heal.
State officials sent a statement to NPR saying any personnel decisions have to be made locally. One former special education teacher involved in implementing the Salmon River Box program has been arrested for allegedly abusing a student last year. It's unclear whether that criminal case, which is still pending, involves the improper confinement of a child. Brian Mann, NPR News, Fort Covington, New York.
This story first aired last Friday on NPR's All Things Considered. We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Eddie Lawrence of Saranac Lake and Caitlin Scholl of Lake Placid. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.